Hello, this is Natasha at XI Computer. Today we're looking at the latest and greatest XI M-Tower PCIe workstation based on the 40th anniversary limited edition Intel i7-8086K processor, professionally overclocked at a record 5.3 GHz. Now let's take a look at how we built this box. For this build, we used a fractal design defined S case. This award-winning, soundproof, and compact case has an optimized airflow design to minimize noise while providing adequate ventilation for the most powerful CPU and GPU combinations. Fans are controlled internally by the BIOS accordingly to the temperature of the case. The case has some nice input and output features: an audio output, a mic input, and two USB 3.0s. There are three 3.5 and two 2.5 internal bays located on the right inside of the case, but there are no external bays. There are filtered air intakes from the front and the bottom of the case, and the panels are foam padded to isolate inside noise. Let's open the case and see how we have built this workstation. The first thing we notice is the motherboard of choice, an Asus Prime Z370A. It supports up to 64 GB of DDR4 memory. For this configuration, it is populated with 32 GB of RAM at a clock speed of 3600 MHz. Also noticeable is the Corsair dual fan radiator cooler that is supported by this case, which has two 120mm fans that exhaust the heat from the CPU and keep it running at the right temperature. Also, the case has one 140mm intake fan in front of the case and a filter to help minimize dust. Along with the two 120mm Corsair exhaust fans, the case has an additional 140mm exhaust. This build has a Samsung 970 EVO M.2 PCIe 500GB at 3400 MB per second read transfer rate that is located under the heatsink. There's an additional M.2 above the video card. If more space is needed, you can add another three 3.5-inch drives that are located on the opposite side of the panel, and an additional two 2.5-inch drives behind the motherboard. We have installed NVIDIA Quadro P5000 new generation professional video card from the NVIDIA Quadro line. It has 16 GB of DDR5 video RAM, 2560 CUDA core that can be used for both visualization and for computation as a coprocessor for the CPU. It can support 4 monitors at 4K resolution like the one we have here. The power supply is at 850 watt gold. It is up to 90% efficient and it is modular and very quiet. The modularity allows to keep the traffic of the cables at the minimum required, so as you can see here, it is pretty clean and neat the way we route the cables behind the panel and they come up where they're needed. Should be noted there's a slide out filter underneath the power supply. And that's about it for this inside look. Here we go with the benchmark session of this video, and you can see from the HW Info 64 utility that the Intel i7-8086K is clocked at 5.3 GHz. There are 6 cores and 12 threads for this CPU. The first benchmark used to compare Quadro P4000 and GeForce GTX1080Ti is Cinebench from Maxon, which is based on the animation software Cinema 4D and a tile rendering algorithm to benchmark the CPU. From the video portion of the test, we can see that the GeForce GTX1080Ti achieved a score of 161.19 frames a second. The P4000 scored 220.64 frames per second and is a lot faster than the GeForce GTX1080Ti. For the tile rendering algorithm part of the test, which only benchmarks the CPU, you can see the 12 threads proceeding at once at high speed. It'll be a few more seconds for the results. And of course, quite respectable number here on the rendering part compared to the other CPUs listed here. The second benchmark used was the SpecViewPerf version 12.1 by Standard Performance Evaluation Corporation. This benchmark runs tests using CATIA, Creo, Maya, Siemens NX, SolidWorks, and etc. For this benchmark, we compared the performance of the P4000 and P5000 video cards. The test takes over 20 minutes to run, so we will only show the results. First are the results of the P4000, and they are respectable numbers. Now we see a side-by-side comparison of the P4000 and P5000. As you can see, if you need better video performance, the P5000 is the stronger video card. Since the GTX would not perform well on the SpecView perf test that is aimed for 3D CAD hardware-assisted OpenGL, it was decided to omit such a test. This concludes our test at this point and our presentation. Thanks for viewing our video. For more information about the configuration, the build, and the performance numbers of the benchmarks, there are links on YouTube as well as on our website. Visiting our website, you will be able to configure this and other workstations and servers and take advantage of our ongoing discounts and promotions. Again, thank you very much for viewing this video. See you all at xicomputer.com. Bye!